All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to have your attention, please. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular session of the Budget Committee for June 2024. Tonight, we also have a public hearing regarding this year's budget. So now that I have opened the regular session of the budget meeting, we're going to go right into the public hearing. Let's see, I think we have one person that has indicated they would like to speak, and that would be Mr. Stahl.
Right here.
Yes, sir.
A lot of things is, I guess, kind of bothers me a little bit. I don't know if all you commissioners know how many properties Lincoln County owns. I tried to tell you that before you voted. There's 28. Some of them are small, some of them's over 100 acres. And, they say that, it's gonna take 3 years to develop this and that. Well, I know Ms. Middleton's got awards for being so good with the Industrial Development Board, but we cannot buy land, develop it, and give personal property tax exemption. You need to just check the counties around, they've all just about stopped it. And, the last year that Amanda was here, they paid $1.2 million in personal property tax. Okay, we've had a modular home going in over here, they lasted 1 year and went bankrupt. Personal property tax exemption. Now the lawnmower place is doing the same thing, they're cutting down. So, I just can't see how we can keep buying land. I didn't know it was in the real estate business, but I just can't see how we keep buying land and develop it and let people work or have a business and exempt them when all these other people you got out here that's in business and they paying for them to come ride free. It sounds like the Biden administration, right? And I just want y'all to think about all this when y'all spending the taxpayers' money. And that's just all I gotta say.
Thanks, sir. Was there anybody else that wanted to speak that didn't get the opportunity or didn't realize maybe that they needed to sign in? This is certainly your chance. More than happy to hear from the public as always, so. Yes. Have you signed, did you sign in here?
I signed it, I didn't check it.
Okay, what's your name?
Tina Thompson. I hope that there would be more people here that would have better on there. Down at the very bottom, we came in kind of towards the end.
Okay.
See?
Yeah, just have it for the record. Thank you, ma'am.
No,
Go ahead.
What I'm gonna say ain't gonna be no more different than what I think most of the community is saying. My taxes went from 24,000 to 69. And now mind you, that was after I went up to the courthouse and Miss Tammy can verify, went through everything that was on it. The property, mind you, is 100% flood zone. It can't be built on, it can't be anything done to it. All right? I've had 3 different people, well, 1 person and 2 insurances evaluate my property. 69,000 is a joke. It's nowhere near worth that. It can't even be insured. That's how bad of a flood zone it's in. In addition to that, that is after originally the property was all on separate things. So there was many things that, she was able to help me with to get it reduced back down, and it is still lacking less than 10% of being 3 times more than it was. Okay, and now we're talking about increasing the actual taxes that are put on that. So, just to even out the numbers, let's say 275% is what it was of an increase, which is not, is closer to 290. But even if you take that, you've almost tripled the amount of taxes that I'll pay on that property this year. And with what? All of our food has tripled. All of our electricities, got a notice last week, they're raising. There's not a single thing coming out of my pocket that's raised. Not a single thing. And I understand that our budget gets larger each year. Absolutely, you're 100%. But why is it that none of our expenses, and maybe I'm wrong, and please, if I am, enlighten me. Help me feel better about our community. Why are they not targeted to the people that use them? You know, I hear all this about the schools, and I got a daughter in the school. Don't get me wrong, I get it. But how many property owners have kids in the school? Why do you keep, you know, if groceries go up, I plant plants in my yard. I can make choices. I don't get to make those choices though. If the schools need money, why are we not directing it towards people? And here's a concept, and y'all may remember when I brought this up multiple times. You know, it's just like our wheel tax was originally supposed to be for the schools. However, there's not a single parking lot of the schools, because I physically did this myself, that has Lincoln County tags on every single one of those cars that are parked there. And I understand that our officers have no time to be able to pull over every single car that doesn't. But that school has to get the make, model, and the tag number. Why are they given a parking pass to a tag that's not Lincoln County? They're your student. Shouldn't they be putting in? It just seems like the responsibilities aren't given in the right directions. You know, schools need money. I totally agree. But why isn't the school doing things to bring money in? You know, farmers need money and stuff, but there's a lot of things that farmers do to get those. Businesses need money, but business do those things to get those. But when you increase our taxes, that is our entire community, and you don't know what our needs are. So instead of just telling us that you need things like the wheel tax, initially that was told to us for the schools. However, all of these increases, most of these increases are then put into the general fund and dispersed where y'all vote to disperse it. If you're telling us that you need our money to help the school, why isn't it put into a school fund? Because it's really starting to make me distrust all of it. If you come to me and you tell me, hey, we need this for this, then I expect my money to go there for that. But it seems like after a year or two, it doesn't. And the answer that I have gotten from every single person is that goes into the general fund. So you come to us with a problem that we all, most of us can recognize. But then when it's put in the general fund, y'all are allowed to use it any way that you want to. And that's not what we agreed to. Just doesn't seem to be a lot of transparency. And property owners trying to pay for every single thing, even people that buy in their tags. You ever go to Walmart? You ever go to a business and look at how many tags are not Lincoln County? Figure it out. Just grab your your registered voters list, because that's what I did 7, 8 years ago when I approached this before. Just assume that they all have one car. Come on now. How many of us can only get away with one car per household? And figure it up, and then compare it with how many tags are actually there. People are learning ways around the system. They don't buy Lincoln County tax because of that wheel tax. So that wheel tax is only hurting the honest people. Where if it was down to $50, 10 or 20 bucks higher instead of 75, I think a lot more people would do it. Start placing responsibility and be more honest with us. And I don't think y'all go into this lying. But if you tell me, I need this money because I'm gonna make that bridge better and I'm gonna repair it. Okay, when you don't repair the building, why doesn't the money stop? As not often, but sometimes y'all do say it will. It's because y'all put it into the general fund. And like idiots, we keep saying, okay. Because we wanna believe in y'all, we need to believe in y'all. Y'all are the reason that we're able to be what we are. So don't take that from us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, is anyone else that has any comments? Last chance. All right, thank you very much. This will close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Move into the regular session of the Budget Committee tonight, and first on the agenda is County Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Don't have anything at this time.
All right, thank you, sir. Mayor is, doesn't have anything tonight. Next on the agenda, the Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities. I hear their budget, Mr. Clark.
How are y'all?
Great, how are you?
Good. I'm sure y'all had a chance to review the budget for 24-25. It's pretty cut and dry. We have allocated our funds for the South Fishing Board Connection Project, which we plan to complete by the end of the summer. We also have our 25% match for our American Rescue. There's gonna be a 4% increase on water and wastewater, right across the board. Any questions?
When does that start?
July 1.
July 1. Do we have any other projects that we did under the rescue plan money or?
Well, we're still, they just submitted the PEO. So the state is behind on their approval, so we're still waiting to get the go-ahead to start construction. Now, other than the El Mitchell Road, Gunner Hollow, Old Bethel, and Old Milana, that's what's on our projects.
Have we heard anything about this, the other infrastructure money that was passed? I don't think any of that's quite filtered down yet.
No.
Y'all got any
No, we haven't.
guidelines or anything
No.
where you can request?
Not at this time.
And that's been what, a couple years ago, or well, not quite 2 years ago, that was passed in Washington, and we haven't even seen any of that.
No.
Just now seeing the rescue, we're just now spending a lot of that rescue money.
Yeah, and it's
that
just,
was,
and like I said, we're just waiting.
and that was passed in 21, I think.
Yes, we're just waiting to get it. I mean, we're really gonna have about, over a 3-year project, it's gonna be probably 15 months construction now. So it's gonna be really touch and go if we can get it. But according to my resources, the state is behind, they're understaffed, and that's why it's taking longer for things to get approved.
Other questions for Mr. Clark regarding the Board of Public Utilities budget? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, gonna take these one at a time, folks. At the Board of Public Utilities budget, is there a motion regarding this budget?
Move to approve.
Bryant moves we approve.
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, next item on the agenda, Lincoln County Sheriff Joyce McConnell and CFO Sandy Metcalf. Evening, Sheriff.
Good evening, folks. So I'm just gonna do things tonight, and Sheriff is gonna have a couple updates she wants to give you guys. But you should already have it, I sent it in to Dina on the amendments for the 2 gun lists, and those are off of the gun bid that we done back several months back. Well, come to find out, there was, some issues that I was not aware of when the gun bid got put out, that there was some law enforcement only weapons that was put on there that cannot be sold or traded to anyone. So I pulled all of those off, and this is just basically a final cleanup list so we can finalize this trade. They do not allow us to, actually pay them until our guns that we are sending back is actually given to them. So hopefully in the next couple weeks that'll happen. There probably will be some numbers that will change, but I will take that out of the drug fund and that will be no cost to the taxpayers on that. And I'll provide this list if it was not. The other couple things was brought up during the budget process that I was made aware that were X'd from the budget. So I know there was some confusion, I believe, within the commission about what was spelled out. I spelled it out in the justification letters, but I know there was time lapse from the time the justification letters came, and I came to you guys first to the time that y'all actually voted on it, and I apologize I wasn't able to be here that night. So the 2 things was the line in uniforms in 451 out of the sheriff's side. It was not uniforms, it's actually for bulletproof vest. So I said that we needed the vest because we were in between the cycle in which we were able to apply for the bulletproof vest grant. With that being said, we still need the vest at this time. We did apply for the grant. The grant is a matching grant. It's a 50-50 grant. We applied for $54,000. So, but as we know, they're on a federal fiscal year. So that will not take place most likely until October or surpass that. I need to uniform these people with the appropriate equipment to keep them safe out here on the street. So with that being said, I still need the $20,000 at this time. If there is any money left in that $20,000 when we make those purchases, I will use that money towards the match on the 50-50 bulletproof vest grant. The other thing was, under prisoner clothing, I think there was some confusion about the mattresses. So the mattresses for the jail, don't get me wrong, it was not to keep anyone comfortable inside of the jail. It was because we were purchasing cheaper mattresses prior. We found a mattress that it has proven to hold up a lot longer. So if we spend a little bit more money to get these mattresses to last longer, we're gonna save money long-term. So with that being said, that's what that $12,400 was within the budget. It is definitely a need, not a want, because our census has went up from COVID 120-ish. Our census today was 180-ish. Goes up on the weekends to about 195. We had to actually borrow mattresses from another county because we didn't have enough mattresses at that point. So that is something that I definitely need within that budget. Do you have any questions about those 2?
Sandy, on the mattresses and, as well as the other thing, this will be on the part of the jail budget?
So the mattresses is part of the jail budget and the uniforms is part of the sheriff's budget.
Okay.
So it's $20,000 and then $12,400.
Okay. The jail budget at the end of May, you're underrunning $731,000. You average, it was estimated that you only spend $341. The actual for this past month was $314. So why can't you just buy it with what you got right now?
Well, we're in the mix. That's what Jason and I, myself and Vicki and Dina have all been working on about budget amendments. So we done, and Jason, I'm sure, has the final budget amendments for tonight. We looked at the budget and going through the budget process, as we know, we try to make sure, of course, no payroll line items are over at all. And I believe we clarified that and cleared that up. But when we went through the final budget numbers, Vicki and myself the other day, I did not feel comfortable because we know we have some bills that's coming up that we do need to clear up by the end of the fiscal year, that the mayor is working on negotiations on, which is some pretty large Vanderbilt bills, which is totally out of our control for an inmate's treatment. So, and we had another inmate have to be sent out also. So that's money that needs to be salvaged to help try to take care of that, so we don't go into next fiscal year and be right out in the negative for our medical. So that's kind of what we're trying to salvage some of that funding for.
Okay. I just want to say, you got $731,000 that has not been spent.
Well,
So
we had
even-
some more,
Even with those, Bill, on an average, how much do you negotiate those down to?
Well, the worst case scenario is probably in the $100,000 range.
Okay, well, you still got plenty left to do what you want to do. If you get the estimate of $341,878 every month, plus the $100,000 that he's talking about, you're still gonna have, 300, a little less than 300,000 left in your budget, so you should be able to afford those.
so with that being said, Jason, if you step in and speak up about the finance portion of it. We done the final cleanups today, with Vicki, myself, all of us together. And I did not allot for any of that funding. I mean, if this committee would like to vote on allotting that funding and doing some more amendments, it kind of gets a little fluid there, so
Yeah, there's some cleanup amendments that'll be coming. that are
several cleanup
tonight.
amendments.
I'm not exactly, but depending on, that's a good point on what he's negotiating on. There's some cleanup amendments, it's just down that time of year where we can't go over certain lines. We're reading all we can to make sure we get to under a certain point, I guess.
If my math is correct, even what you said, there's still gonna be a surplus. And it seems like the surplus is gonna be enough to cover what they're requesting.
I don't know that for a fact, but it's possible. Yeah, it's possible it could come out there, but I don't know for a fact.
And that's kind of like, I've been doing this, job for almost 25 years. And we always want to make sure, because our job is so fluid there at the jail as far as expenses is concerned. So, we try to run a pretty tight ship as far as keeping up with the budgetary process and make sure that everything is above board and good and never being over budget. So I don't really like to take and expend funds that I can't for sure account for to say, because we have a unit that goes down. If we have something else major that happens, the deals that, the mayor is trying to negotiate, things like that, I don't like to get it so tight that I can't breathe, because, ultimately, the sheriff's responsible for it, me being the CFO is responsible for it. The money's gonna go, as we know, back into the general fund, and it can be repurposed for this purpose.
How old are these doctor bills, these medical bills at Vanderbilt?
Not too awful old. We've, got them probably about a month and a half ago. We've been in negotiations now for 3 weeks to a month, maybe, or something like that.
No, it's a long process when we negotiate those, when we start off. We probably, the occurrence on that largest one probably been 6 months ago. and
But we
then-
just got the deal not long ago.
Yeah, a lot of times there's a 2 or 3 months before you get the deal. And then when we go through the process, we've probably been working on it 2 months.
Did we not send them to Huntsville, over to Lincoln, or is it that bad, they gotta go to Vanderbilt?
Yeah, this was, the real expensive ones, it's typical that there's just some things they can't do, and, some of them go to Nashville, occasionally one to Tullahoma. Vanderbilt has got a lot tougher on us, we used to be able to negotiate those a little better than we're able to now, but, I don't know what percent savings we're making now, but it's more than half.
Yeah, because the problem is, where we have the problem at the sheriff's office is, they are part of Huntsville Hospital. As we know, Huntsville Hospital can care for the people appropriately, but we can't send them across state lines. So that's where we run into the problem of having that contract pricing that we have, in negotiation with the hospital. And most often they do go from here to Vanderbilt. So that's totally out of our control, as we know. We can't deny medical for the inmates, so it's just totally out of our control.
Well, Sandy, back to what you said before, you got $731,946 that had not been spent out of the jail fund. Your as long as you've been in that job, you're not gonna spend 731, 946, even doing everything that you're talking about. So my question now again is, why can't you buy that out of this year's funding?
Jason?
Like I said, I think the unknowns is what scares me about it. I don't know how this will come in towards the very end. There's a good possibility some of the amendments you're gonna see tonight, I might be doing some more again next week, as you know, commission, this is our last month of this year to get budget amendments in before the end of the year, the fiscal year. And if we meet, the commission meets next Tuesday, there's a good chance I'll be doing a few more of these budget amendments just for final cleanup, the real final cleanup, on the floor, and it could very well be partly some of that stuff there too. I know what you're saying, it seems like a smaller number compared to the big number that's looming, and that.
Most of the expenditures have already been done in the last 11 months. A lot of people, responsible people that would be.
But there'll be
paying.
some that carries over into the new year, I mean, that will get paid out of last year, we'll pay, in July, and even in August, we'll be paying some bills that were still from May and June.
Okay.
That's just a common, it was, I mean, last year's budget, if y'all remember, to get past August the 1st. We had to close the year down within about 3 weeks there to come within, not getting a big slap on the wrist from the comptroller. We did, but then we were still paying things that, in that month, it was a crazy month that way. It shouldn't be that way this year, but we'll still be paying those same bills from June in the next months of the new fiscal year.
When we were doing the budgetary process, they made a request for those two items to be in next year's budget. I'm saying you don't need it because they got the money to pay for it.
And my rebuttal to that is, I don't know exactly how much is gonna be left over out of that 700,000 once we pay the rest of this month's amendments and going into the next month of actual bills paid.
Well, it's kind of a moot point, because if there's any money left over in the sheriff's department, it goes, back into the general fund. And a comment about the general fund, it's not some slush account that we just throw money in. The general fund is the budget that all the courthouse offices and the jail and the sheriff's department are located in. You got the schools budget, that's its own budget. You have the solid waste budget, that's its own budget. The general fund has all the courthouse offices, sheriff's department, et cetera. So, those funds would go back into that fund and would be used for next year for whatever, So it's not like that money's getting lost or anything. It was just, we just got to stick to our lines, our budget lines. And like I say, with these hospital medical bills, I mean, Bill's done a really good job of negotiating some of those down. But I can tell you, being in the insurance business, that it's a lot tougher, negotiating that stuff than it used to be. And we don't know, we could have another inmate have something big happen to them between now and the end of the month, which would put it in this year's. So, I mean, you just don't know what's gonna pop up in the next.
So much of this is uncontrollable.
Yeah.
We don't know what's gonna happen.
I just don't want to, I'm sorry, Ricky.
I'm good.
I just have always been in good practice to make sure that we are not over budget, bottom line, and get written up by audit. So with all that being said, we're able to clean up in this fiscal year budget between the sheriff's budget and the jail budget together, because I moved money from the sheriff's budget over to the jail budget to help clean some line items up. So we were able to clean up, I can't tell you the exact number, but I'm gonna say somewhere around $500,000 without having to come back to this, commission and ask for new money. So, we try not to do that. So with that being said, and that was part of some of the SRO money that we discussed in some of our prior meetings, and not having full positions, and Joyce will talk about some position stuff in just a second. So just wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Right.
Just two things, and one of the things is kind of one of the comments was made, it's worth saying, number one, the commission is not raising taxes this year. The assessment has changed, but that does not mean we're raising taxes. And, there's always a popular misconception about that. That works like a seesaw. The assessment goes up and the rate goes down and vice versa. So there's not a tax increase this year. And to these two items, the uniforms failed because I guess people thought they were uniforms. I got zero issues with bulletproof vests. If you need bulletproof vests, you need bulletproof vests. Mattresses, I think we probably buy some mattresses. But, from a safety aspect, I think it's just my opinion, we should buy the vest. I think you should probably buy the mattresses. Officer safety is always, paramount, and I don't want to, have us have an issue with officer safety for sure, because that is something that'll come back and get you as a county. That's a proper equipment, and that could be something that could be litigated heavily. And, the mattresses, I think, buy a mattress for sure, but I think it'd probably be, in my estimation, because it's not even uniform, and I thought it was, that we should do the bulletproof vest simply because it's the right thing to do, and if we were ever, it happens to be if we had a problem, then, I would feel pretty good knowing we did the right thing on that. Now, the mattresses, I think probably someone that buy the mattress is a problem. This is what I think.
I don't disagree with you, but since you brought up the sheriff budget, you got 961,121 left on that. With those two numbers together, you ought to be able to move money around to buy the bulletproof vest as well as the mattresses.
We have moved thousands of dollars around, and we've come up with a final cleanup that Jason, myself, Vicki, and Dina were good with as far as end of the year. And we left it at that, because I simply had built this budget prior to looking at any of that. So we just left it at that. I mean, I think we're tit for tat here, so.
And for the record, I've raised that question, I'm not against getting the vest, because I think you need it. That's part of the responsibility that an employer has to provide the clothing for the employees. And the mattresses, I'm just saying that I think you can get it out of this year's budget and not have to make an enhancement for next year.
It's a one-time cost.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Did we not last year agree to get y'all about bulletproof vests? Did we not approve that? Was it the year before?
No, it's been several years. The last time that we got bulletproof vest overall was 5 years ago, because this grant only comes up every 5 years. So,
We cut it
and you
from the
gotta
budget.
understand, we
Yeah, I
added,
thought, yeah, I knew.
we've added multiple new employees since then. So with that being said, we have a policy that says we shall provide. And, the mattress situation, I get where, Mr. Anthony's going with it, and where Mr. Ricky is too. But, we're also obligated by TCI to, legally provide the inmates with mattresses. So we could face, scrutiny and a lawsuit on that just as well. So, but like I said, again, it's a one-time cost. The money can be turned back into general fund one time for next year. I think the final budget amendments, that we've done is, they're out here tonight.
Other questions for Sheriff or the CFO regarding these items they've discussed? All right.
I would like to point out on a good note, that we have had several programs that we've introduced, back in the jail. We've had, faith-based classes and non-faith-based classes. We've had, I think, 63, inmates to have been baptized since, last August. We've had, I think, 11 inmates that have received their GEDs, and I think 8 more tests this month. We've had 29 inmates that have taken virtual classes on the state tablets that we have. This is at no cost to the county. We've had, like I say, 29 that have either received certificates in HVAC, plumbing, or electricity. So we're trying to teach these inmates and give them opportunity to learn a trade, so that perhaps when they do serve their time and get out, that, we're trying to reduce the recidivism, because the more people we have in jail, the more people are caught, the more money it costs taxpayers. So just wanted to let you know that, and we're steadily, keeping, level with our employment as far as our correction officers. I think we're pretty much fully staffed, and we have maintained that for the last few months. So, when we started, it was like 11 positions down. So, our jail administration are working exceedingly hard to retain the employees, and, matter of fact, we've had several applications come in that we don't have position for. So that's good enough.
Can I just request something?
Yes, ma'am.
We have a lot of people out there on the marketplace selling stuff. Is it possible there could be a spot in your parking lot that they can come and buy or swap instead of people coming to your home?
Yes, ma'am, I'm glad you asked that.
Cause I'm leery of doing it.
We have ordered, we have the sign now. It's for people that, you know, a lot of online shopping now with Marketplace and Facebook, where people are buying things from individuals and they're meeting in dark parking lots, exchanging, and we've been very fortunate in Lincoln County not to have, you know, suffered somebody getting robbed or knocked in the head. And we also have, from time to time, well, quite often, we have custody exchanges. You know, one has visitation and they come up to the sheriff's department or somewhere to exchange custody. Well, we have a sign in what it is, and we'll have a camera on it, and it'll be monitored 24/7 for those people that want to buy something from someone, that they can come up and exchange and pay that in our parking lot, in a lit parking lot that's got cameras on it. So we're hoping that will reduce crime. And also for the people that are, you know, 'cause we've had a few domestics in our parking lot when they're exchanging custody, you know, they get into it. So we're gonna have 2 parking spots designated for that. So we're waiting on, Mr. Gill to get us some posts so that we can have that posted. But thank you for asking about that.
All right, any other questions, y'all have any, Sheriff, CFO, y'all got anything else, any other,
No, sir, we're good.
any questions? All right, thanks very much, y'all, appreciate all that you do for Lincoln County. All right, let's see, I guess do we need to pass the amended gun surplus request? Is that, okay? And basically, that there were some guns that we didn't have some serial numbers and stuff for that weren't included in the original list, I think.
There was some guns that, and then like I said, there were some guns that were law enforcement only that the general public can't possess.
Yeah.
So those were taken off and a few were added back to clean this up.
So basically, this, we need a motion to surplus these guns.
So moved.
Mr. Ewan, makes that motion.
I'll second.
It was Jason Hambrick, seconds that. Any discussion on the gun surplus? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. I guess the mattresses and the vest have to be done separately, don't they? The vest is at 20,000. What's the will of the body in regards, of course, we had it originally as clothing when we discussed it, and it turns out that it was the bulletproof vest. Mr. Ewan makes that motion.
Second.
Mr. Sanders seconds that. Any discussion?
I got one question.
Sure.
$20,000 to get vest. And
Yes.
we can't, is this coming out of this year's budget?
No, this is next year's budget.
And we can't afford $20,000 out of $1.6 million that's left to buy vests out of this year's money.
I'm sure there is someplace, they don't know exactly what line, and all you're doing is messing up the accounting, you know? If there's any money left over, it goes back, you know, and it's the same thing. I mean, you're accomplishing the same thing.
No, if you got the money to pay it now, you pay it. If you wait till the next year, then that's an expense for next year.
Any other questions? Oh, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay.
I-
All right, the nays, just one, okay, 7-1.
And my reasoning was already been stated, that's the reason.
You've made it clear. All right, let's talk about the mattresses now, that request. What was the amount on that, Ms. Dina?
24.
12,400? Okay. What's the will of the committee on that?
So moved.
Mr. Spray moves that we approve. I will second that motion. All right, is there any further discussion,
This is
questions, et
next year's
cetera?
money, right?
This is next year's money, this is next year's budget.
Okay.
It's definitely not officer safety.
All right, well, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. We need a,
One, nay.
Nay.
all right, do a roll call for us, Ms. Dean.
Jason?
No.
Bonnie? No. Steve?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Ms. Kate?
No.
Motion fails. All right. Is there any action that needs to be taken in regards to the grant? Have they,
We've applied for it, and the only reason we applied for it prior to coming to the committee was because the window surpassed, it was such a short window. So, I don't really see any action to be taken until we actually get awarded potentially, and then at that point, we can request the funding at that point.
okay, so no action required tonight?
I just wanted to inform you of that.
All right, fantastic. All right, next on the agenda is the finance director. Nick?
Thanks, sir. I'll start obviously with the budget amendments. I'll start with the 101. So the first one they have on 101 is a total of $140,214. This is a budget amendment to correct the year-end payroll and expenditures. Next I have is a Vermillion County Archives. It's a request for $3,500 from account 39,000 to account 51910-599. This is genealogy society funds that was given to archives to be used to purchase the telephones, a book scanner, and a printer for the new archives building. Next, there is, this is actually just stuff that's actually been already approved and commissioned back in September's meeting, but this allows the recognition for the clerk to record it. But the first one there's for $1,635, and the next one's $4,700. Once again, this has already been commission approved, but it just failed to get in the minutes. So this will put it back in circulation and get in the minutes. And that's all I had on the 101 general fund.
All right. Questions about the 101 general fund amendments? What's the will of the committee?
Move to approve.
Mr. Taylor moves that we approve. Mr. Spray seconds. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion unanimous. All right, next, Mr. Nix.
All right, moving to the 116 fund, which is the solid waste. This is a budget amendment to revise original budget estimates, and it is for $47,250. And that's all for the solid waste budget amendments.
Questions in regards to solid waste budget amendments?
Move to approve.
Taylor moves that we approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Kate seconds. Okay. Any further questions, anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimous. Next.
Next is the 122, the sheriff's drug fund. Just one for $1,200. It's once again a year-end cleanup. And that's all for 122. Move to approve.
Mr. Hambrick moves that we approve. Ms.
I'll
Bonnie
second.
seconds that motion. Any discussion, questions, comments in regards to this item? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion unanimous. Mr. Nix.
All right. Next is the 131, the highway fund. One amendment there is for $1,461,000 $1,461,020. It's a budget amendment to follow the state aid projects on Patrick Road, Delano, Boones Hill Road, Glenville School Road. Any questions? That's all I have for 131.
Okay.
Second.
Bryant moves we approve. Mr. Taylor seconds. Our bridge money. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Unanimous. Mr. Nix.
All right. Next is the 141 general purpose school fund budgets. These are already went through the school board back on June the 3rd. The first one is the amount of $241,402. That is to revise the year-end budget payroll estimates. Next is for $80,000. That's to budget restricted donors for the Butcher Club supplements. Next is for $753,000, $753,797.98. That is corrections to the budget revision number 1 of the CTE state grant, and those are requests for plans years 2, 3, and 4. The next one is actually for $77,600. This is budget estimates for the paid parental leave. This is a new parental leave that happened this past year in 23-24, showing payroll and revenue estimates reflecting the requested reimbursement from the state E plan. And that's all for the 141.
All right, questions in regards to the 141 budget? Dr. Pease not here tonight.
Yeah, that's over there.
There he is. Hey, sir, thank you. Any questions? Dr. Heath would be happy to answer those for you. Any questions in regards to the 141 general purpose school fund budget?
Move to approve.
Mr. Taylor moves we approve. Mr.
Second.
Caldwell seconds. All right, no questions. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
All right, next is the 146 Extended School Program Fund. Once again, this went to the school board on June 3rd. It's for the amount of $7,818. The budget revision that was requested by Dr. Golden, who's the principal at Flintwell School. And you can see his attachment, but it was to make necessary repairs on his inclusive playground there at Flintwell. And that's all for the 146.
Okay. What's the will of the body in regards to 146? Mr. Taylor moves we approve. Mr. Spray seconds. Playground equipment at Flintwell School. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Next is the 151, the debt service fund. It's a budget amendment in the amount of $2,001. Is revised, for original budget estimates for the year and expenses.
Okay. Questions in regards to that? What's the will of the committee?
Move to approve.
Spray moves that we approve.
Second.
Taylor seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
And the last budget amendment I have is from the 171, the general capital projects fund budget, and that is the amount of $1,840,228.55. And this is the budget amendment just to correct the account number actually.
Just an accounting error that we're correcting there on the numbers. All right, it's the will of the committee. Mr. Sanders moves that we approve. Mr. Taylor seconds. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Next on my agenda is the fiscal year 24-25, the draft budget, which is enclosed.
Okay, of course, we passed this draft budget, I think it was May the 9th, is that correct, Ms. Dan? When we did that, so it's been out there quite some time. I have, the appropriations resolution, despite what's been discussed in some circles, the tax rate is being lowered, projected to be lowered from 2.88 to 1.89. There was never any discussion from a commissioner that I heard about ever raising the tax rate or leaving it the same. We've had some other officials that have kind of discussed it, but never any discussion from any of us about leaving it at 288. So we have the appropriations resolution is first in the budget. What's the will of the committee in regards to that? Bryant moves that we approve.
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Can we lower it from what the, it says here, from the 189?
And
Do we have that authority to lower it?
we can lower it to
150?
nothing if you want to.
Yes, correct. Well, what I'm thinking is, with the seniors, we're kind of matching that tax issue with them, you know, if we match that or we don't match it, can we not lower it a penny or two, and then that would make up for the $166,000 that we're not gonna have to spend? Or does it go back to the general fund?
You talking about the tax relief here? or-
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't think we agreed to do the, matching on that, did we?
We agreed to, I thought we agreed to match what the state had done.
Okay, but we're just not gonna match that 50 anymore, right?
That
Extra
was
50.
the discussion, and Miss Mary Jane is here tonight, so she can comment on any of those things. but-
So how much was that 50, Jason? With people that,
I don't know
how
about
much money was
I don't know about
that?
the breakdown of the actual, just the 50. I know
Yeah.
about the 185. So that was roughly 136,000. Does that sound right? You know, is it, hang on a second. I think it was one,
Mary Jane up here too.
as far as what the county paid back.
Yeah, but if we're not gonna do the 50, how much, just the 50? You have any idea?
I don't, I mean, I've got all that on the spreadsheet that shows if they got it, they got it. You know, they got, this year, they got $136 from the state.
Yeah.
We matched, but last year that was 135. So we took 135 and added 50 to it, which made it 185, what they were eligible for.
Yeah, but we're just gonna match the one.
Whatever the state says. So the state next year could be 150. And we would do 150. That's what the resolution was. It was just basically saying we'll match whatever the state does.
Because I know there was some discussion, we were just gonna do it one time, or was that the one time only on the $50?
I think last year, if you go back to last year, or the year we're in right now, 23-24, sorry,
It's 185,
it's
right?
185.
that
And
was
this is
gonna
the
be
first
added.
year the county has ever done that.
Yeah, I know.
If any side of them actually, to my knowledge.
So, really, actually, the 185 that we did, the matching of what the state said we could do, that matching, okay? We're just gonna do the 136 and not the 50 to make it 186.
Once again, we're gonna do whatever the state says. They have not come up with that number. That number
Okay.
could be 150, it could be 185, it could be 100.
So they haven't said yet what
Correct,
it's
and
gonna
they
be.
won't. Mary Jane, get
They
Stephanie.
won't until all of the reassessment is done. There's a formula that goes with it, population, social security factors,
Okay.
assessment. So it's a big one, but to kind of help you out on your figures, I roughly got 900 people that are on tax relief. Okay, so there's your figures times your 50, or there's your 900 times your $185. If that kind of gives you an idea of what the county is paying this year.
If you 900 times 185, it's 166.5. But not everybody got 185 because some
That's right.
got just 50 because that's, you know, we didn't pay,
Yes.
we paid you up to zero if it came to that. You know, if you had your taxes were low enough to where the state gave you theirs and we gave you ours and, hey, you only need 50 left, but we gave you 50, we didn't give you 185.
You can't make money off.
Can't make money.
Yeah, I know, you can't make money.
So anyway, I think this year's number, actual number is around that 136 amount. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, next year could be, we don't know, because we don't know if the state, it depends on how you write the resolution.
Yeah, that's what Mary
I guess.
Jane was saying, whatever resolution.
And most counties that do it based on just whatever the state does. I think last year the rationale was to do that, plus 50, because the taxes were raised.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, just want to clarify where that money is, all that's going, so, okay.
Also want to clarify that the county's gonna get the same amount of money, even though they bid at 189. Rates went down, so we did not raise taxes. And again, that's a super popular misconception. Just because the assessment went up, doesn't mean your taxes went up.
It just, the rate is 189.89, right?
189.98.
98, okay, okay, all right.
There are 4 decimal points.
Okay.
18998.
Just want to make it.
That was the state and that.
Okay, other questions in regards to the appropriations resolution? Got, Miss Mary Jane is here tonight, and matter of fact, we brought her in to discuss tax relief, and she had a comment or two that she'd like to make. I think there's been some misinformation out there, so we wanted to clear that up.
Yes, I appreciate you letting me speak to you tonight. I want to address the situation about the statement that was made about myself and collecting the local tax relief last year. And I think it was said that I did not want to do it, that it was too much trouble for my office. And I want it to go on record that I absolutely did not say that, and that I am here for the people of this county, and I'm going to do whatever the will of this board and the commission is. If you know anything about the tax relief of what I told you, my staff and I eat, drink, and sleep tax relief. It goes out in October, it's due through the 1st of April. As of today, I still have 61 applicants that applied last year that fit the deadline, that I'm still trying to help them get that tax relief for this year, and here it is already time for it to start again. So I want to make it clear that you all understand that I want what's best for these people in this county, and that my employees are the same way, and that it's all a time-related situation, that we get here early in the mornings, we stay through lunch, and do the work late to make sure that we get every one of those applicants in there. And if you understand too, this was a big program, and there is a lot of work involved in it. I worked closely with the state comptroller's office, with auditors, with Jason and staff to make sure these people get this money, because after we said that that's what they're gonna get when they come in my office, I wanna make sure they get it. And you all know, working with auditors and comptrollers, every T needs to be crossed and every I needs to be dotted. And I wanna make sure that this county does exactly what they're supposed to do, especially on my side, to make sure these people get this money. And so I want to straighten that out. I want to make sure that if anybody's got any questions, I want to, please come to my office, and I'll go through all this tax relief with you. It becomes very complicated because it's just not if you meet this requirement. There's a lot of things that go with it. And I feel like I also need to clarify and maybe verify what I was talking about, the resolution last time. And I talked to a lot of trustees because I guarantee you, they know my name when I call the state because I want to make sure that they get it, I make sure I get it correct. But the resolution was made exactly what Jason said, is to make sure that if you all do want to do the local tax matching, that resolution doesn't have a dollar amount in it. And when I was explaining that last month, and I said that I thought that was a great option to be put into motion, never did I ever want to say, take away what you're giving them extra. Again, that is my job, and I want to do what I can for these people just like you do. But I just want to make sure that I clarify that. And so, make sure anybody's got any questions before I go, because that's exactly what I want to make sure that you understand. I want what's best for all the citizens in Lincoln County.
How many new people were added to tax relief last year?
200.
200 new individuals that had never received it.
Never heard of it. It's amazing. It's on that bill every year, and it is amazing that they come in and said they never heard of it. And I will say that I appreciate the equalization board, what they're doing these last 2 weeks for people to come in and question. They come to my office and they'll say, can I qualify for tax relief? And so the more we can get it out, I want to talk to the Oklahoma Times again and on the radio, any way we can talk to people. And I'd rather them be denied than to have not tried. And so, and I will tell you again that people are so thankful for the matching and, and also the additional, there were lots of people that didn't pay a dime because the extra money helped pay their taxes. And so whenever you're looking at them eyeball to eyeball, like we are every day, I see it, I hear it, and I know how grateful they are. And it's nice to hear something positive.
Do you know how many counties actually gave more than what the state provided?
Very few, very few.
I figured it couldn't be more than a handful
I don't know if there's
to
really.
do what we did last year.
When I sit down and talk to the other trustees, especially around Middle Tennessee, because that's the ones I end up talking to mostly, I know that a lot of them have never matched the disabled veterans or the disabled veterans' widows. Some of them don't match them, and they sure don't match them with extra. So, that's a definite plus that the county has absorbed for these people, and they're so appreciative of it. Yeah. But that 900 going from around 625 to 900, and I guarantee you after this year, I bet we'll sign 2 or 3 more hundred people up. It's a great program. And I appreciate you all matching very much.
Questions for the trustee? Always glad to have her come visit. I'm sure she has other.
We'll make sure to clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I'd like to make a statement, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Y'all were talking about, you asked about the tax rate going, y'all lowering the tax rate. At that $1.8998, if y'all are considering, if there is any
I'm just thinking.
if there is any possibility that you're thinking of that, I can have the state run a run to see whatever y'all's numbers, if you're wanting, let's just say $1.75, $1.79, they can run a run and still see how much that money would be with that rate. I do know that there is a lot of people that, if nobody was at the courthouse for the first week that the state was here, that's probably the packest courthouse that's ever been. Bill, verify that.
It was packed.
It was packed. They come in, we as the state and us in the office tried to help, with things that wasn't correct on their card. And it's with this $1.8998, there is still people out there that are going to be paying more taxes than they did. It's still gonna be high. There's areas like people that's got the green belt, some of those people are gonna be lower because they're getting that discount for green belt, even at that $1.89. the people that it's hurting, and I'm trying everything in the world to get the state to go back and do a run. You've got people that are in subdivisions that can't be touched. Their taxes are going up, even at $1.89, because their values went up so high. These people down here in Hedgemont, over here where the whole hospital is, all of them, their lot size, their lot values went from like 8,000 to 18,000. Some of them 21,000, some of them 41,000. That's ridiculous for that area to be that. So their taxes are going to go up, even though it did $1.89, because their land values have went up. And you can't just go in there and take that land and put it where you want it to be. I wish I could, as the assessor, I wish I could say, hey, that's not it, I'm changing that, the state won't let me do it. I wish they would, but they set these small lots and these subdivisions at a UCO, what they call a UCO, and you can't touch it. If their house is, say, they went in and done some of the subdivisions as above average houses that were built in 1997. That's not correct. If you've got a house up here, somebody may built 2018, it may be above average, but the one next door was built in 97. Because it's in a subdivision, they make everybody's the same, so that Johnny don't run down here and tell Henry, hey, your taxes is lower than mine, why, your house is bigger than mine. You know, it's that thing right there that, you know, but if you're considering that, I can.
It was just my idea.
Well,
I just,
well, it is a thought.
It's just a thought.
It is a thought. I don't know if y'all know the city, theirs, I think they're voting on theirs tonight. Theirs went from $1.80 to $1.36.7. And some of theirs is the same way
Which was the
because
state recommended rate,
But
right?
that's the
Yeah.
state recommended rate, yeah, but theirs is the same way. I mean, I sat and figured on when people come in, I sat and told them, okay, this is what's gonna be the new tax rate, but this is what your taxes were last year at $2.88, this is what they're gonna be at $1.89. Some of them, you know, some of them are up $100 and something still, some of them like $20, you know, just depending on what type of, you know, house you got, but like Mary Jane said, we're here for the people, and if it's feasible, I can have them do a run, at a different rate to see if y'all are considerable for that.
Well, thank you, ma'am, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions regarding, we're at the appropriations bill.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
All right, question's been called for. All in favor of the appropriations resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is unanimous. All right, next on the agenda is the tax levy resolution. And like I say, we're lowering the tax rate from 2.88 to 1.8998. And basically you had, and we discussed this last year, you know, we talked about the fact we had a reappraisal coming up, appraisals go up, the state adjusted so that the same money comes in, approximately the same money, as close as they can get, comes in this year as it did last year. And so they resulted in going from 2.88 down to 1.8998. So that is the tax rate that is up for approval. What's the will of the commission?
So moved.
Mr. Spray moves that we approve.
Second.
Mr. Sanders seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Next is the nonprofit resolution, appropriation resolution. What's the will of the committee?
can I make a move here? I want to.
Need a motion first
Okay.
of some kind, and then you can amend
I'll make
it.
a motion with the,
Motion that we approve. Mr. Taylor seconds. All right,
when we did this, nonprofit with one of our budgets, it was brought up about the Chamber of Commerce, moving them up to 15,000 from the 12.5, just like Main Street, and of course it was forgotten about, and we just.
I don't think we ever made a motion about that to
No,
talk
but I would
about.
like to do that. I would like, they never asked for any more money ever, since I've been here, ever. And I don't know how they do it on 12.5. Can we move it up to 15,000 for the Chamber of Commerce?
Are they at 12 or 12?
They're at 12.5.
So, I will second that motion. Is there, any further discussion? Changing the Chamber of Commerce, from 12,500 to 15,000. Essentially matching what's given to Main Street, I think.
That's exactly right.
I'd much rather see it done as a budget amendment later on, but that's all I'd say about that. There's a
Got,
lot of change to make, to be doing that.
all right, we've got a motion, and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion unanimous. Okay, the nonprofit resolution as amended, what's the will of the body on that?
Move to approve.
Mr. Taylor moves we approve. Sanders seconds. Any further discussion? Questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, that's got us to the budget. We will be presenting this to the full commission on, well, actually, next week. Got kind of a shortened schedule, but next we've got the financials, for June.
Move the report.
Bryant moves that we approve. Second. Spray seconds. Any discussion regarding the finance? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously. I don't have anything additional tonight. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
We did have some constituents that asked some questions at the beginning of the meeting. They took the time to show up. I would like for us to address some of those. I think it's important that we do exercise transparency, which I think that we do, but a lot of times things on social media and, you know, shame's probably the wrong word, but I don't feel like we do a great job of putting minutes and information out there on the website for people to see. During the reappraisal process, if we had had information out there on the website that explained how it all worked, I think that that would have helped some of the misinformation that was out there. I'd love for us to put all of that on the website, and Mr. Bryant, you even said during the meeting, you know, wish that people knew about the, you know, tax rate, that some things were put out there. I realize we can't put some things out there, but I think we should do a better job of putting things on the website so people could go to one uniform area to collect information that comes from us. It would help in misinformation. But one of the questions that was asked tonight was about wheel tax. Could somebody explain that? That was one of the questions that was asked. So we all know how it's divided out and it goes to Hilton Road and all that, but for clarification for our constituent, could someone answer that question?
Well, it's, when we passed, like when we passed a change a few years ago, we had to specifically lay it out, you know, this percentage goes to schools, this goes to roads, this goes to, I think it was the jail that kind of drove, the last increase in the wheel tax. But, I mean, it's broken down, and people go back and say, gosh, you know, it was supposed to go to schools, and it was supposed to be taken away and never, you know, paid again after schools was done. You know, that was before my time. I was in high school at the time, but I don't ever remember anything like that being said, and there's nothing in the paperwork that indicates that, you know, it was gonna end once Lincoln County High School was built. So I can't remember all of the questions that she had. She was,
And that's actually.
said we could just put it in the general fund and just move it around, and that's certainly not true. Dr. Ethan maybe got a comment he could
Yeah,
add to
last
that.
year, I was asked a question about wheel tax, and I just looked it up. For a $75 wheel tax, let's see, $12.50 goes to the county general. Highway department gets $42. Jail debt was $14. Debt on school property was $6.50, and school operations was zero. So that made up about $75 or whatever it was.
Most of that goes to highway.
Yeah.
And while you're speaking, Dr. Heath, could you lament a bit further about how the school system is funded, since that seems to also be a question that comes up that a lot of people have?
Yeah. I did that last time, didn't I? I think.
Just
It'll be fine.
real quick, because we do have people that are asking,
I
and
got
I
you.
think it's important.
Step up for
No
me, if you don't mind, Dr.
presentation,
Heath.
you don't have to, just you could break it down, because we do have people asking it.
Okay, so, our budget approximately $39.6 million. Out of that, $29.3 million comes from the state of Tennessee, funding model from the state. I don't have the percentages, I think I had them for you last time up there on the screen. $4 million comes from local option sales tax, which by law, I think 50% of that total sales tax has to come to school. $4 million comes from county property tax. $135,000 from other local taxes. Other state funds are in there, at about 900-something thousand. And the federal funds are yet to be determined. Federal is usually about 18, maybe not quite 18, 12 to 15% of our total budget. So I don't know if that helps, but I had it broken down last time. I can shoot that out to you guys by email. And you can put it
I just
in.
think information like that on the website would again help for clarification, and a lot of things that are shared out that are incorrect, and it causes people to get scared and upset. And if we had all that information readily available in one area, I think it would make people feel more confident in what they were dealing with and the information that they were given, because it would help clear a lot of that information up. And in personnel, we talked about the grant writer position a little bit, and I know that y'all get into that later at the commission, but I think if we could task them with the responsibility of getting some of this information on the website, that would be very helpful, and I think that the community would really appreciate that. Does that answer all the questions that you have?
Jim, one thing just to clarify there too is by source, federal funding funds 20% approximately, state funds 54%, and local funds 25% of our total budget.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I got everything we need. Ryan?
Comment,
Yes.
and it seems to be more prevalent, and people do everything they want to, but I do wish that if you got something that's gonna be brought up at this meeting, then it would be on our agenda. It's not a question and answer session, sometimes it's about budgeting, and those things that we put on the agenda so that people can have a proper answer.
I understand.
And, I don't enjoy things that are not on the agenda at all. That's just a comment. And I move we adjourn with that comment.
I second.
There's a second to that, Mr. Taylor. All in favor, right?
I'm for you.
Well, I just don't want-